This was in October of 2004, and Marilyn Chiat, who is the historian and knows all about the history of the synagogues and churches, and especially about this particular building because she had her graduate students come up and do some research on not just the building but the Jewish community.
But first I had to convince people that the building could be restored and another reuse, an appropriate reuse could be found. When I started, it must have been about 19 years later, Margie entered my life.
At that point, we said if we're going to move forward, we need to do something. But the city engineer said, if you don't get a roof on that building, it's going to be gone because it's leaking badly. So at that point, we had the roof replaced. We got some funds to do what's called the Historic Properties Reuse Study. We had a large gathering of people here for several days, people from the Twin Cities to look at the structure of the building, and people from the city to decide, yes, we could use this building. So on that basis, we said, let's do it.
And at about that time, Charlie, who was my eye doctor since I was 16, said to me every year when I came for my vision check, what are we going to do about the shul? And I remember we talked about it again, and he told me that Margie and he were organizing a committee to get together, and that was my first involvement in the Friends of B'nai Abraham in the early 2000s.
We had been told that there had been a major leak in the building or steam. So we walked into the building and Marilyn went, sniff, sniff. She said, I've been in churches that are operating that are worse than this. So at that point we thought, okay, this isn't so bad. We can manage to do something with this.
When the building became deteriorated, a lot of the interior furniture that you see in here today was given away to a congregation down in the cities. And our organization wanted to restore this building as well as we possibly could. So through some negotiating and cajoling and discussions, we were able to get most of the furniture back that we wanted to get, and including the many beautiful pews that are in this sanctuary right now, and the bima chairs and some other furniture. And me and my son Danny and Charlie and Margie Ostrov and Mike Blehard and Mike Blehard's son all went out to the synagogue in Minneapolis one day with a moving truck, and we old timers all loaded the moving truck up with all of these pews and furniture, filled up the truck, and the next day I drove the moving truck all the way up to First Hibbing, Minnesota, where I had a deposition scheduled. And I drove to an attorney's office in a great big moving truck, and I parked right in front of his office, and I thought to myself for a minute, this doesn't look quite right. And I drove the truck about 2 blocks away, and I parked it and locked it up, and I went in, and I went to a deposition for most of the day, and then I left, and I went over to the shul here, and I walked around, found a couple of the neighborhood kids, paid them some money, and we hauled all of the pews that are behind me into the synagogue, and they stayed there until we finished the renovation.
Even though the restoration wasn't completed, we started with programming. And we have found over the years that people here love to have music. Arrowhead Regional Arts Council, but sometimes we have to pay for it out of our income. And one of the things that we've been able to do for the last 8 years, the rabbi from Temple Israel in Duluth has come up once a summer, and a number of the members of the congregation come up here and do a Shabbat service, 20, 25, 30 people, and it's wonderful to be here when there's actually, this building is serving as a synagogue with beautiful music and very spiritual because it's such a lovely space.
The man you're seeing, who is pictured on the Friends website and was on the cover of Minnesota Monthly, is Daniel Milovitz, and he's known to most of the people who knew him as Bubs or Bubsy. And Bubsy was my grandfather's first cousin. So he was probably my second cousin once removed or something like that. But he passed away about 10 years ago and owned a war surplus store in town. And he and his wife Ann lived up here in Virginia almost their entire life, and was a wonderful guy, and was very active and involved in the shul for his whole life.
We spent quite a bit of time doing research up here, did a lot of oral interviews, collected a lot of great material. Those intervening years, I made certain that the synagogue kept appearing in the news. There were newspaper articles, the Jewish World published articles. I put the synagogue in a national book I was writing. AP picked up the article, went nationwide about this beautiful synagogue and what's going to happen with them. Well, Margie told you about how she came into it. And that's when I suggested forming this Friends group that would be a not-for-profit.
Curious. Okay. That's okay. Just so let's make testing. Okay.